Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is John with Addicted to Fishing. Sorry it's taken me a minute to get out a video. I've just been kind of busy. But today we're going to hit one of my favorite baits that I really started throwing a lot in 2025 this year. It's going to be a big player for me in 2026. I've talked about it in some of my JDM videos, and that's going to be the Geecrack Bellows gill, and I also have the Bellows shad. I throw more of the Bellows gill type than the Bellows shad. I've got the regular Geecrack, and then I've got some knockoff variations of it that I'm going to share with you guys and show you, and just kind of go through them and how I fish them, some things that maybe some of you don't know. And then we got one other Geecrack bait at the end I'm going to sneak in and just kind of quickly touch base with it. So guys, if you don't know what these are, they're a I'm going to call them a creature bait. It's kind of a bluegill shad pattern, if you will. And as you can see, it's got all these ribs that go through the body. In the center, you can see it, this little thick core. Mixed for a very interesting profile. Lots and lots of different ways that you can rig it. I may not cover all the ways that there are, and I've been finding more and more uses for it as I go. One bait that I didn't grab that I think I want to grab for you guys to show you, if I've got one quick handy to grab. And I can make it pretty quick and easy. I don't have one rigged up on it, but I can grab one and kind of show you. And we'll call it this one the first one. This one's straight out of the package, never been fished yet, so it takes a little bit for me to go through, straighten out the skirts. But this one of my favorite baits to throw is the chatterbait. This one happens to be the good old Z-Man jackhammer. And you would just take that bait, rig it down through the center. This one obviously is too big for this one, but it makes a great chatterbait trailer. With that natural kind of pintail, it allows that bait to kind of hunt and search, and do the great things that you want from a chatterbait. I probably only have a handful of different rigging methods, and we'll kind of hit through those. Probably my least active way, or my least go-to way to fish this guy, is on the core tackle hover rig. This is great for the smaller sizes, like the down to the little 2-inch. I fished the 2-inch, the 3.8, the 2.8. I just want to make sure I don't have anything else. And I think these are a 2.8, or I mean a 3.8, maybe a 4.8. Just depends. And I'm going to cover what the differences are here in a second. But this is great on that little guy, that little 2.8. Now I'm going to cover this one first, or I'm sorry, the little 2. One of the things, guys, if you've never fished these or never owned these, they are very oily, and they smell to me like a bag of Fritos. So here's that little 2. And this is the 3 or the 2.8. You can see there's significant difference. But this little hover rig, I don't fish it like the typical hover rig where I bury this in. I'm not. There's not enough meat, but I'll kind of fix it, you know, in this manner. Like I said, this is my least option, but it is an option for you. God, they are oily. Probably my #1 way to fish this. I got one out of the package here, and then I got one in the package. Especially through the winter or when I'm really trying to slow down. I put it as a trailer on that Raid Igu Dama type Kawami. This happens to be the 2.7 gram. And like I said, I got one out of the package. There's that little Raid jig. And then that little kite, or that little bellow on there makes a perfect little trailer. Absolutely deadly. I've spent quite a bit of time trying different methods with that. There is another way that I rig it. I don't know if I have the hook, the exact hook ready. It doesn't look like I have one, but I just use a small EWG hook. I have found some really small guys. I think they're like a size 10 that work really well with that. That hook also comes into play on another rig, and I thought I had everything out and ready. I tried to get a little more prepared. A couple different weights that I use with that. I think this is what they call the Trubisky rig or Trubisky rig. Got a couple different sizes. I just try to keep them all in a little pack so I'm not carrying 1,000 things. It's a little 3 gram size. I'll rig that up on the front. Kind of give it that free rig. I also have some really small bullet weights. I just seen those. Got a few different brands. I got one in a package so I can tell you which size I'm using. Right here. These are a 1/64 ounce. I'm trying to go as light as I can with them. And I'll use this on several. Well, I won't say several. I'll use this on the 2 and the 2.8 if I'm just trying to add just a tiny bit of weight. I hope you guys can see that. That's teeny tiny. Again, that's a 1/64 ounce bullet weight. This is just by Bullet Weights. And those are my primary ways that I will fish that. Tackle Warehouse had these on clearance, so I bought several of them. The other way that I found that you can fish it, and I like it too, is on the drop shot. It makes a great little drop shot bait. Probably my favorite size to fish is this 2.8. This is in Zapata gill, one of my favorite colors. I got some out, and that's just in a regular version. And then I did buy some, and I have one rigged here. I'm trying to grab the one that's rigged. This is, I don't know the color, it's in Japanese, but this is the elastomer version. The non-elastomer versions, you go through them pretty quick, but that elastomer version, it's just that stretchy, like Z-Man material. This one I was throwing on a free rig. As you can see, this one's held up really, really well. The elastomer case, when you pop that dude right back in, which, you know, fishing with thing with Z-Man, that's the elastomer. It does not play well with others. So this one happens to have its own little clamshell, and it has a slot in the back so that you want to leave your hook. The case will close. So that's the two ways I get them. I've got some others I'll show you. But that's about the gill is my favorite color. And that's this one. It's got kind of that olive green pumpkin color on one side and kind of that red burnt color on the other side. Here's one that I've got pre-rigged and I just cut off. I fished this size primarily on the free rig. This is my little free rig sinker. That's a deadly way to fish that guy. You can see I didn't even really trim that down after I was done. But I keep them when I'm fishing them to let the hook dry out and not rust everything else out. I buy these little packs, and that works really, really well. And you can see this one has been chewed up pretty good. My problem is with the non is a tear here. I'll super glue those or burn those back with a lighter. Try to get as many uses out of them as I can. And I got one other one that I'll use with almost all of them, except for that little 2 that I'll show you at the end. Not going to pull every one of these out. This is what they call dark matter. This is in that 3.8. This size 3.8. That's in the shad. It doesn't have the swim tail. This one's in Japanese as well. That's this one here. This one's the same color, but it's in the 2.8. I think this is the same color in the 3.8 because I do like throwing that bigger one. And this one is in the elastomer version. Still rigged up from last season. Now fishing's close to being mute right now at this point. You're good. Got a lot of snow, had some ice. The ponds I fish are iced out. The area in the river that I fish has been flooded because of the snow and the rain melt. The bigger size, my preferred rigging method, is on that Core Tackle Ozark rig. The nice thing about that Ozark rig, and I just had that 3.8 out with it in it. I don't know if this shows you the color. No, it's in Japanese. This is that Ozark rig. Cool things about the fishing the Ozark rig with these guys, and we'll cover that in a minute. There's several different ways you can fish that, and I'll talk about how I fish them in a minute, other than just on the simple jig trailer, free rig, Texas rigged. I got a couple more hooks I'll show you guys. Go through some more of these baits real quick. These are, you know, as I said, they had some knockoffs. This is made by Prime Tang Baits. I'm going to show you the difference with this one because not all the knockoffs are equal. You can see how stiff and rigid that is. This is the actual Geecrack bait. You can see how deep those bellows run, or those things run. This does not. I have not fished this one yet. I'm interested to see how that works. This one might be one that I designate more as a jig trailer. And that's a pretty rigid bait. I don't mind some of the dupes that are out there, but I like to get it at least to close to how the Geecrack is. This one's made by Bad Apple Baits. I got two here. This is in that bigger 3.8. You can see it's nowhere near as flimsy either, but it does have the ridges, and it looks a lot like the actual Geecrack bait. This is another color of that I have, and you can see I can hold them both kind of mid body, and you can see the difference in the plastic. This one, I mean, these are the closest that I've found to the Geecrack. I pay about $1 a piece for these when I get them from Bad Apple. Sometimes they're a little more, sometimes a little less. And then, you know, in Bad Apple Baits in prime time, I've gotten off of Whatnot. Then I found another seller on Whatnot that had some. He was selling them in packs of 4 for a decent price. They were about $1 a piece. This is on that 2.8 inch size, and this is the elastomer. So for $4 for a pack of 4, I know they're a knockoff. At least that's what they appear to be. But they have that deep ridging. Great looking bait. I got these late in the season, so I haven't had a chance to fish them. I like that color, that black and blue. And then kind of had this opaque green pumpkinish motor oil, whatever you want to call it. Again, in that elastomer. I'm excited to try those. Okay, guys, now as far as how I'm rigging them, other options that I have, again, the little 2, my primary is on the back of that Raid jig. Makes a great little trailer for that. My least option on that little one, but it's got a small enough hook and gets you some weight, is that core tackle hover rig. The hooks that I use are kind of these guys here. This one's made by Dove Sun. You find them on Amazon. It's got like a little nasty hook. Great little hook. I've had lots of success with that. This is the one of the Eagle Claw hooks. It's their Finesse Nico hook. Works really good. An offset EWG hook. The core tackle. Primary ways that I fish it are I Texas rig it with the core tackle and just pitch it around, toss it around like I would a regular worm. The other cool thing with this, especially in some of the rocky areas that I go, I actually swim it like a swim jig. Works really well. I've tried it on the back of an underspin. Works really well on the back of an underspin. This would not be one of them. I've got some rattles with collars. If you wanted to add a little sound, you can put a little rattle with it. Free rigging, it's probably my #1 go-to. But one of the other things, and this little hack right here makes it so easy to do. And this is by, I believe, Geecrack. Yes, it's called the Nico hack. I think I've shown this in a video before. This one happens to be white, or the clear, in a size medium. I bought the value pack, which is 30. And I believe I've shown in a previous video how I rigged this. But we'll go ahead and open this up. Pull one of these guys out, and I'll show you again. I hate dropping one of these on this carpet because they're kind of hard to find once I drop it until I step on it. But this is the Nico hack, and you can see it's just a spike, and it has these two little spikes on this flat part, if you can see that. And this is for Nico rigging or wacky rigging. So you would take your bellow, push that Nico hack through the bait right in the center, snug it up inside the ridges, and I make sure I split those ribs to get that dude in there as tight as I can. You bring it through, take your favorite drop shot hook or wacky hook or Nico hook. It's got a formed hole. Oh, these big guys, it makes it kind of hard to do. But you can Nico rig that, toss that around, wacky Nico style it, and that works really, really well. If you don't have the Nico hacks, you can still wacky rig it, Nico rig it however you like. Up here in the head, this one's split, but you can insert your little nail weight, and that's a great way to fish it. So that's the Bellows gill in a sense, the Bellows shads, and the types that I use. With this core tackle hover rig, the way I'm swimming it as I'm throwing it out, and I rig it, and I bring the point and I expose it just barely inside one of those ribs, and then I'm swimming it around. This thing helps it swim, and when you kind of stop it, it gives it sort of that gliding motion down, and that's been really deadly. Smallmouth have reacted really well to it. If you guys haven't tried those, I highly recommend it. In that Geecrack line, the last one I want to talk about, since I'm kind of talking about them, is what they call the Bellows stick. This isn't a 3.8. This is the elastomer. You can fish these weightless as well. I get a real slow shimmy. It's the same with the Bellows. These guys are pretty heavy. There's a lot of weight to them, so they're great shallow water fishing. This is that Bellows stick, and I primarily will fish this wacky Nico rigged. Again, use that Nico hack, insert that through, and wacky rig it. I've also Texas rigged this. I think it's a little big, and of course you can do it, fish this on a drop shot, but I'm really starting to like these little Bellows sticks. This one doesn't have the color. It's 026, but it's in Japanese. I kind of like that natural, more subtle pinkish brown color. It's got some flake in it. I know the camera's not going to do it any justice, but it's that little pintail worm. Fishing it, Texas rig, that little, shaking that rod a little bit, that little tail comes flopping and moving behind it. Smallmouth have reacted very well to that. And these have a more subtle smell than the Bellows gills and the Bellows shad have. You can find these on Tackle Warehouse, Tackle Bros, quite a few other different websites. And I'm going to bring one of these back out just to show you. This is on that bigger 3.8. I thought it would say, but it's made with this SAF. Or sorry, it's on this side, the SAF. It's got that amino. And man, I tell you, you crack these open, they are super oily. And to me, if you know what Fritos are, I call that Frito. in a bag, and they call it their super ring body. You get a 5-pack. They're generally about 11 bucks where I'm finding them. I haven't been buying them other than the small ones off of Tackle Warehouse. Most of these I'll find on like eBay, whatnot, places like that. I'm glad to see there's a lot more of this JDM style baits in the States right now, because it's very costly to bring these in anymore from overseas. So Whatnot's been a good source for me, finding a lot of my JDM stuff. You just got to be smart when you go on to Whatnot and follow some really good sellers, and then pay attention to pricing. You know, I look at the price of the item. I don't look at shipping. There's some sellers that now offer a flat $5. Some of them offer a max of like $9 to ship. Some of them, once you spend a certain amount, you go from standard, priority to overnight. Different ways to ship. It's a great way to pick up some JDM tackle and not pay all the tariffs and all of that on the baits right now. One of the other ways I want to fish this year with that little 2-inch. I haven't done it yet that much. I think I've done it once or twice and I liked it. It was on a little ball head jig. I think that's going to be deadly. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to run through a quick video. I haven't put one of these out in a while. Cover one of my favorite baits. It's been my go-to. I want to say all year long. I'm going to say this led to probably 40% of my fish catches. It was tied on 100% of the time. I hate having to carry a bunch of rods when I'm walking real far distance. But I have made sure that every trip I have thrown that bellow around. When I was throwing a spinnerbait, chatterbait, regular Texas rig, and nothing was getting bit, I free rigged one of these up in the 2.8 size. Again, this is the 2.8 size. This just happens to be the off-brand, but I like how flexy and how good I think that one's going to work really good, how loose it is. But I picked that size up right there in my little pond. They're full of two and three pounders. There's some big good boys mixed in, but it's just full of fish that are 12 to 16, 18 inches. And you pick this up and throw that on a free rig. It's absolutely dynamite. My choices of rods this year for that: rods, reels, line. My primary rod. A lot of people had emailed me asking me if I just bought this forward-facing minnow rod just for minnow shaking, and that's not the case. I've been throwing it on this Carbon Light technique-specific Bass Pro Shop rod. Let me get the specs right. 7'3", medium light, moderate fast. I have that with 15-pound high vis yellow Power Pro to that 8-pound Trilene Sensation line. That's on the littler guys. I'll throw the 3.8 sometimes on that, but my 3.8, I'm primarily switching over to the bait caster. And I'm using this one for primarily everything this year on the bank. This is another Carbon Light. It's not a technique specific. It's when I've got a chatterbait on. It's what I bought this rod for. 5 to 1 or 5.0 to 1 Shimano Corrado. This happens to be the 200 DPV. This rod is a 7-foot medium moderate. That works really well for it. Primarily my two rods, my go-to bait caster rods are both the Johnny Morris Carbon Light rod. I do have a Shimano Chaos rod that I'll throw that on on occasion. This happens to be whatever my primary bait caster is being used. I don't like that moderate too much for spinnerbait, so I go to my other carbon light. It's the old carbon light white. Let me pull that out. If I'm throwing a spinnerbait, this one just happens to have a buka on it, but this is the old carbon light white. It's the carbon light 2.0, 7 foot, medium heavy fast action. This rod's been put through the ringer. It's a great spinnerbait rod. Currently I have that Shimano Kalias on there, which is the US version of their top of the line reel at Antares. And I really like that. I throw it on straight mono. Sometimes, well, I won't say sometimes, every time that I know I'm going to be fishing these guys, and I'm going to be fishing them really slow, and on that Nico, I do pick up my Super Finesse carbon light rod. It's in that technique specific. It's just got what do I have on that? I have, I think, 15-pound Yozuri braid to an 8-pound fluorocarbon, so that way I can get that bait to get down there, stay down, especially when I'm fishing weightless. And I use this little like Nico style hook. Again, this is made by a company called Dove Sun. I like how it's got that little offset. It's got just a little fluorocarbon hand tied on bait keeper, but it's like that little nasty hook that they make, or I use that little Nico. So that's it, guys. That's primarily how I'm fishing it. You can't really go wrong with it. I have yet to find a way to fish it. You know, some of those little ones, I have a hook sitting out here, so I'll show you when I'm drop shotting. I'll go to that little bitty tiny guy right there, especially when I'm fishing for smallmouth. I've got some little 5 and 6 pound channel cats can't seem to leave that thing alone, and that little hook's just enough to get them. And I just nose hooked that. But anyway, guys, I hope you liked that. I hope you liked that video. I hope it gives you a little information about something that maybe you haven't fished yet or haven't tried or wondered about. Some little tricks that you can do with it. But it's great. That little 2-inch, they've been on sale for a long time on Tackle Warehouse. You want a real slow winter presentation. That right there, that Raid Igudama type Kawana. That little 2-inch is a great pairing for that. That little jig is absolutely dynamite. It's got its own little weed guard. Sometimes I trim that skirt up a little bit more around it. Buddy of mine was throwing this underneath a bobber. He was catching tons and tons of crappie with it. So that's a great little jig to throw. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked that. Hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I really enjoy putting out content. Now that my new job is, I've been there about a month now, and I've got some extra time. I'm hoping to put out some more videos. Maybe next year I can put out a few more actual fishing content videos. Kind of walking through what I'm doing while I'm out on the water. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.